on Iran, maybe having some tariffs come down on them. But April 2nd, President Trump is labeling it as Liberation Day. April 2nd is Liberation Day because what it says Trump has repeatedly called April 2nd Liberation Day with promises to roll out a set of tariffs or taxes on imports from other countries that he says will free the U.S. from the reliance on foreign goods. To do this, Trump has said here impose reciprocal tariff match the duties that other countries charge the U.S. products.
Yeah, why not? Why haven't we been doing it? They've been hitting us with heavy tariffs and we don't charge them anything. Why is that the case?
So I think the American people are concerned about, well, how is what's going to go up? What prices are going to go up and affect our pockets? But I guess we want to buy a car. Well, we already know foreign cars. That's already going to be tariff tax on those off the rip. But I'm not buying no foreign car. I can't afford it.
Well, hey, they make Toyotas and Nissans down here in Mississippi, so they can set up a factory over here and employ black folk. Meanwhile, you have the Democrats stupidly in a place they do control, like Memphis, inviting South Koreans to come in here and employ 30,000 people in about 2.5 years at a large factory owned by the South Korean company. And the employees won't be local residents. They'll be imported in from South Korea. Mm-hmm. Now, see, that's what Democrats do.
So it says here, which of Trump's tariffs are about to start? Trump has said he will place 25% tariff on all imports from any country that buys oil or gas from Venezuela, which includes the U.S. itself starting Wednesday, in addition to imposing new tariffs on the South American country. 25% tariffs on auto imports, auto imports will start being collected Thursday, with taxes on fully imported cars kicking off at midnight. The tariffs are set to expand to applicable auto parts the following week through May 3rd. The White House says it expects to raise $100 billion in revenue annually from these new duties, but economists stress this trade action will upend the auto industry's global supply chain and lead to higher prices for consumers. Now, Judge, I need to either lease or buy me a new car this year. Am I going to have to pay more money, or do I just need to purchase American?
Well, considering that you're a sucker if you pay the list price for the vehicle in the first place, nobody buys a vehicle for the list price unless you're a fool. It's a balance. And then the other thing is it's short term. Yeah, it might cut down some things, but it also is an ample opportunity. You're a barber and you say, hey, all of the stuff I use in here is imported from China. You put tariffs on it, you bring my expenses up. Yeah, but you've been talking to me, Mr. Barber, about you have some ideas for tools. See, now that you create a market by giving you some slack, you can, and I'll help you with it if you want it. I'll get you some investors so you can set up the business of making these tools of your dreams that you now will have the opportunity to set up making that you did not have before. So everybody else is charging us tariffs. That's called balance of trade. It is ridiculous if you get charged a tariff and you don't charge one back, because does the price go up temporarily? Yes. But you see, when you slap a tariff on, say, South Korea for putting one on us, then South Korea says, hey, maybe we need to think about that. And I tell you what, Mr. Ambassador, if you're ready for a meeting, let's have one. How about if we reduce our tariffs on your American General Motors and Ford vehicles that come over here, and we can do a quid pro quo thing. You drop yours, we'll drop ours. And that means our market goes up because more South Koreans can afford to buy American made cars. See, it's a balance.
So far, Trump has imposed 10% tariffs on all Chinese imports, and that began February the 4th. A levy he later doubled to 20% on March the 4th. China has hit back with retaliatory tariffs covering a range of U.S. goods, including 15% tariffs on coal and liquefied natural gas, 10% tariffs on crude oil from the U.S. But now we have Iran on the table, and I do.
By the way, before you get off of that, you want to hear something absolutely ridiculous? You just recited what we're doing, exporting oil and petroleum products to the rest of the world. You know what's so stuck on stupid?
What?
Less than 1% of domestically consumed petroleum products are produced here in the United States.
Interesting.
Now, that's what needs to be readdressed. That kind of imbalance is just obscene because people have been making a lot of money off of it.
So it says Iran whines to the UN after Trump lays down the law. Trump made it clear, cut a nuclear deal or face bombing and tariffs. Iran's response cried to the UN about reckless and belligerent remarks. Their ambassador ranted about military adventurism and threatened swift and decisive retaliation if the US or Israel defends their own interests. Sounds like Iran's just made Trump just mad. Trump won't play their rules. So it is a clip that I wanted to share with. He is talking about Iran and tariffs on Iran.
The secondary tariffs on Iran, and we'll probably give it a couple of weeks, and if we don't see any progress, we're going to put them on. We're not putting them on right now, but if you remember, I did that 6 years ago, and it worked very well, to put it mildly. And if the election weren't rigged, you would have a situation where there would be no problem with Iran today, but it was. Biden didn't know what he was doing, obviously, and we have a very rough situation in the Middle East because of that. You ended up with October 7th, and you would have never had October 7th, and you would have never had Russia going into Ukraine likewise. We're going to make a decision on secondary tariffs on Iran based on whether or not they're going to make a deal. If they're going to make a deal, then we're never going to put secondary tariffs on. We're going to hope they have a great, long, and successful life as a country. But we'll see what happens. It's very, very interesting. I can't imagine them doing anything else but making a deal. I would prefer a deal to the other alternative, which I think everybody in this plane knows what that is. And that's not going to be pretty, and I do not prefer that. So,
you know, it is like when Muhammad Ali was in his prime, walking into the room and saying, all right, all you guys want to fight? Okay, I'm in this one. You want to get it there? Let's get it on. Or do we want to shake hands and be peaceful about this whole thing? See, that's what's going on. It's like you have B-52s, B-1s, B-2s. You have Ohio-class missile submarines. You have LA class. You've got Seawolf class. There's just 3 of those super subs. And you've got Virginia class subs. And you've got nuclear aircraft carriers. And you've got R.L.I. Burke destroyers. And, you know, with all of that, plus the ICBMs that Musk is upgrading for the military, that kind of says you walk into the room and you're the government equivalent of Ali in his prime. You know, like, hey, you want to take this on? It'll be rumble in the jungle. You know, hey, Thriller in Manila. Let's get it on. So it kind of, and you notice he's giving them an opportunity to say, let's negotiate and we'll back off of what we're doing. And in Iran's case, say, hey, we want you, I know you got a right to do it, but we have a right to do what we do economically. So we're leaning on you, you know, we make you feel the pain. because your citizens are kind of tired of being deprived for the last 45 years. So, well, let's work something out. You know, they won't feel the pain from the lack of nukes, but you sure as hell feel the pain if we deal with the tax here.
So it says President Trump on Monday touted the success of U.S. 2-week-long offensive against Hutus in Yemen and issued a clear message: stop shooting at U.S. ships and we'll stop shooting at you. Trump administration launched its operations early this month after Hutu terrorist group once again renewed its threats against Israel vessels earlier this month after Jerusalem cut off humanitarian aid to the Gaza Strip. Iran-backed Hutu terrorists have been decimated by reckless strikes over the last 2 weeks. Many of their fighters and leaders are no longer with us. We hit them every night. We hit them every day and night, harder and harder. Also, going back to Iran, Trump threatens bombing if Iran does not make nuclear deal. So U.S. President Donald Trump threatened Iran Sunday with bombing and secondary tariffs if Tehran did not come to an agreement, or Tehran did not come to an agreement with Washington over its nuclear program. In Trump's first remarks since Iran rejected direct negotiations with Washington last week, he told NBC News that U.S. and Iranian officials were talking but did not elaborate. Quote, if they don't make a deal, then we will be bombing. It will be bombing the likes of which they have never seen before. So Trump is ready to bomb Iran if they don't make a nuclear deal, and he's already going to put tariffs on them.
Well, he really needs to get ice sicked on these illegals, because I'm sure Iran has got some of their agents who are nice and comfy in various places in the U.S. with already planted military-grade explosives waiting for the word to detonate. So there might be a few problems, but he's going to have to get them out of the way. That's one of the reasons ICE, I think, is cracking down. That's the unsaid thing. What Biden seems to have done is remove the safety zone the U.S. had by the fact that it had the Atlantic Ocean to the east and the Pacific Ocean to the west to insulate it from what else was going on in the world, and now we don't have that. He's got to do something about it because it's all part of the whole holistic scheme of things. You know, they don't have B-52s, B-1s, B-2s, and F-35 strike fighters or F-A-18 Hornet strike fighters, but they've got people who have on Adidas and Nikes and just walked across the border with what they need, thanks to the last idiots, Biden, Harris. But yeah, I think he'll get a handle on it. You know, we have the Second Amendment. We are armed. We're not helpless. If we have balls and attitude, we can protect ourselves. The American public needs to be enlisted in its own defense, because I have a sneaking suspicion, thanks to Biden Harris, it's going to get real nasty in the next few couple of years. Real nasty. And they're also setting up excellent.
You think there is going to be a domestic terrorist attack on us here?
I think there's going to be an international terrorist attack because they're already here. And the public is not going to be paying much attention because you do have domestic violent activity that the far left is foolishly trying to incite and promote. Look at Davy Crockett hat, coonskin cap, coonskin weave woman, you know, with her ignorance. See, that isn't good.
Yeah. One last.
How'd she get so much money so quickly? Getting paid what?
Well, I don't know. I haven't looked into her finances just yet, because you may be getting her mixed up with someone else. We don't know her finances.
Hers aren't exactly minuscule. And AOCs are kind of high too for somebody that just got out of their 20s and been on a public payroll for all of their adult life to be, well, 5 6 years, 5 years worth to be worth what she filed. That's kind of strange. That doesn't seem like we have honesty there.
So, last thing, this has move away from trending politics. You ever heard of the Ark of the Covenant?
Mm-hmm.
So it says declassified CIA documents claim that the mystical Ark of the Covenant was located by a psychic decades ago in the Middle East as part of one of the intelligence agency's experimental secret projects in the 1980s. The Ark of the Covenant was thrust back into the spotlight as globe-trotting archaeologist Indiana Jones attempted to uncover the artifact in the Steven Spielberg Raiders of the Lost Ark. According to Jewish and Christian tradition, the gold-plated wooden chest housed the 2 tablets bearing the 10 commandments, which God in theology gave Moses between the 13th and 16th centuries BC. The CIA conducted experiments as part of the secret project Streak, which individuals known as remote viewers, a type of clairvoyant who claim they could project their consciousness to receive information about faraway objects. There is no credible scientific evidence that remote viewing exists, and it is generally regarded as pseudoscience. What the fuck is this? This
Did
makes
you
sense.
see the movie? Who he played in Descendants? He's a good actor. He played
Ford.
no, not Harrison Ford. That
He
was
played the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
no. That's yeah. I'm not talking about that. There was another movie. It was a joke about the CIA trying to set that up. His name will come to me in a little bit, but I saw that movie where the CIA was trying to do that. It was a comedy.
Yeah, but this is okay. So my thing is, this is an actual CIA document, Project Sun Streak.
Waste of money.
Right.
Actually, it was probably a cover for some black ops thing where they needed the money, so they made this look ridiculous as it could be. So the Soviets, during the midst of a really nasty Cold War situation, wouldn't be paying too much attention.